And good afternoon. We welcome you in. It's the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 El Tigre. That's right, El Tigre. That's what we are. That's where you find us. Sometimes, Rogers, I'm assuming the AM signal got back up and rolling, I hope. But yes, we are here. We're hanging out. We're happy to have you with us. As Rogers Hampton would say, we're just happy to be here. That's our boy Hambone, just happy to be here. But yeah, we're excited. We've got College World Series set and ready to go after NC State just kind of took it to Georgia yesterday. So that is happening, and Omaha, as we knew going into yesterday, was going to be an all SEC ACC affair. And certainly, obviously, is that we knew that was going to happen. We were wondering if it was going to be half SEC, half ACC. Turns out it's a little more ACC than SEC, 5-3, in favor of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Even after, the SEC had arguably maybe the strongest regular season of any school. Of any conference in baseball this past year, but ultimately not enough as the SEC ends up with 3, and the ACC with 5, I should say. But we are here. We're hanging out. We're happy to have you with us. Very excited about the show. Looking forward to a lot of fun and frivolity today. As always, I'm going to tell you why Georgia versus NC State was actually an unfair matchup yesterday in favor of NC State. We'll discuss that. And hey, what do you know? Caitlin Clark's in the news again today. I'm even tired of talking about it at this point. A lot of questions about why she sat out so much of the second half of last night's game. It appeared to be a little bit of a statement from her coach, former Louisiana Tech player Christy Sides, and we'll discuss a little bit of that and get into good catch, Rogers. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's 4-4. It was going to be 5-3 if the ACC didn't win. So appreciate that, Hambone. Yeah, it was going to actually be the other way if Georgia had won. It would be 5-3 because there were already Florida, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, and who am I missing? Who was the fourth? Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, and it'll come to me. Brain is not functioning at full capacity today. But yes, thank you, Hambone. And you could have just jumped in and on the mic and told me. I wouldn't have minded that. It's all right. I'm always glad to hear when Hambone wants to jump in. Yes, it would have been 5-3 the SEC if Georgia had won. But unfortunately for Georgia, it was A&M. Thank you. Golly, brain's just not functioning right. Unfortunately though, for Georgia, they had an unfair matchup yesterday. I don't know if anyone else caught wind of this, but in yesterday's Game 3, the ultimate game to decide the final spot in the College World Series, NC State was given a massive advantage, and it was kind of unfair, to be honest with you. I was a little shocked that Wes Johnson, the Georgia coach, the former LSU pitching coach, I was a little surprised he didn't protest at some point. I don't know if you noticed, but you couldn't see NC State. Like, legitimately, you couldn't see them, whether they were at the plate or out in the field. Like, how do you possibly prepare for a pitch when you can't see the guy wind up and make the throw? Like, the ball just comes out of nowhere. It was such a decided advantage for NC State that they were basically unable to be seen. It was such a massive advantage. And if I was Wes Johnson, I would have protested. I would have absolutely protested. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and Rogers is throwing himself off of the roof of the Town Square Media building right now. NC State was wearing camo, which, by the way, ugly as hell. God, that camo is ugly. Like, I just don't wear it. I mean, I guess it's fortunate we can't see you when you're wearing it because it's ugly.
The following is a paid program. Participants of this program are not employees of this station, and their views, opinions, and claims do not necessarily represent those of Town Square Media, its employers.
Yeah, it's ugly, man. Ugly. Those like, I don't have a problem with the idea of different uniforms. You know, I don't mind if you want to try to wear some different things, but those camo unis were not pretty. Not pretty at all. And just, and the red NC State kind of clashed with, like, it just didn't look good. You know, if you're going to wear camo, at least make sure it looks sharp. Probably want to wear it with like a white logo as opposed to a red logo. It kind of looked gross, to be honest with you. When you could see them. But yes,
Here he is, having the time of his life. Yeah,
so I made the joke yesterday online and whatnot, basically saying that how is Georgia supposed to handle this when you can't see the pitcher wind up? You can't see him get ready to deliver the ball. Just the ball appears out of nowhere from atop the mound and comes flying into the plate. And, I think because I did back-to-back camo jokes. There was another one. I don't think I even talked about this yesterday, but there was an ad for KTBS is running a whole like July the 4th patriotic go get your flags thing, and there was part of it was I don't even remember what business it was. There's like 10 different businesses that are just giving away flags, and a bunch of them don't have any flags left. And so there was a particular business, and again, I don't remember what it was, but it featured a very kind of an unnatural scene of a husband and wife, and they're running along like a field or something, or it actually kind of looked like one of the holes at Eastridge, to be honest with you, or one of the holes in Natchitoches, and they're like running and they're holding a flag, like the husband's on the right and the wife is on the left, and the kids are like between them, and the husband and wife both have their arms out and they're holding an American flag, and they're like running up a hill or something. So they're running up a hill, like in this, kind of pastoral background or whatever. And the kids are like they're either holding like sparklers or little tiny American flags. I don't know. Very like, very put on, no one does this in real life. No one runs with a flag and their kids and all that. None of this happens in real life. But it was, hey, get a flag, be patriotic, whatever. Fine. Got no problem with that. But the husband, of course, was wearing full fatigues, like full camo, head to toe. So I post the photo, and yes, thank you, Rogers. They were running up that hill. They absolutely were. So I post the photo of it and say, like, kind of crazy how this flag is only being held, there's nothing supporting the flag on the right side, and yet it's still like sitting up, or I don't know, something to that effect. And I post that on Facebook and Twitter or whatever, and sure enough, I got a taker. I always do, it seems like. There's always somebody that's willing to Rogers texted me, please don't, when I started doing the NC State thing. Oh, Hambo knew where I was going. So I post it, and sure enough, someone always bites on it every single time. So I post the thing. Oh, it was 1915 Barksdale Boulevard. Anyway, no, actually, this looks like that might be in Natchitoches, to be honest with you. It looks like one of the golf holes in Natchitoches. Anyway, so yeah, it's a husband and wife, and they're running with the flag, and the kids are between them, and they're both carrying flags, and there's like white swans behind them. Very typical thing for families to do. But again, the father is in all fatigues, all camo, and so I basically said, how is the right side, and I posted this, how is the right side of the flag staying up with no one holding it? And a buddy of mine from Ouachita Baptist back in the day took the bait, unfortunately for him, and said, I am very confused. Are we looking at the same pic? Is the dad, parentheses, soldier, not holding it, question mark? Which, of course, is exactly what I want to have happen. Had another friend also basically say, I see the same thing. Like, what am I missing? And then another buddy who understands the camo joke dropped a GIF of a lady wearing camo, like vanishing into the background or whatever. And then they said, okay, yeah, we got it. So, yeah, so I posted the second one, which was the NC State kid, with this is such an unfair advantage, like how is this allowed, whatever. And same guy posted and said, okay, yeah, I get this one. Like, I got it now. So he picked up on the camo joke the second time. But yes, no one loves a camo joke more than yours truly. It is my number one favorite milieu of kind of dad jokiness to drop in, and I do appreciate every time I get to do it, and I really appreciate when I put it out there and someone doesn't get the joke. That makes it even better. Last time I did this, we had someone locally here that didn't get it. It was a picture of Jan Elkins with a soldier in the studio, and I was commenting on the fact that there was no one on the right side of the studio and that it looked very unbalanced with Jan standing there by herself. And a local friend of mine, didn't catch the joke, and I strung him on for a while. Like, it was there's a guy standing over there. I'm like, what guy? He's standing right there. What are you talking about? And he like reposted the photo and circled the guy. And I'm like, why did you circle a blank space or whatever? So yeah, I can be a bit of a jerk when it comes to the camo. Yeah, but I don't care. It's one of my favorite jokes of all time. Like, just understand, if I post anything with someone in camo, it's gonna be a joke about them not being there. And yeah, if you want to see those, I did retweet them and repost them on the Patrick Netherton Show Twitter page and Facebook page. So if you'd like to see it, and I got a few comments on there as well. And folks who listen to the show obviously know the joke; they get the joke, and so they had a little fun with it. So yeah, there you go. I had a little more fun with camo jokes, much to Rogers Hampton's chagrin. Even dropped one on Rogers and our engineer Kelly while we were out to eat. Kid walked in with a camo hat on, and I mentioned like what happened to that kid's head? Why is some of his head not there? And Rogers knew, like, literally within a nanosecond of like cutting his eyes over there. And I'm sure, Rogers, correct me if I'm wrong, you pretty much knew what it was even before you saw the dude that had the hat on.
Oh, like, I'm so far ahead of you.
Okay, good. I figured you probably already knew even without looking and seeing the guy that had camo on. But I was like, and Kelly doesn't know the jokes that he got it. Like, it wasn't like he got fooled, but he got it. Yeah. You're welcome, Hambone. I'm sorry. I don't know why camo jokes always make me laugh, like, every single time, and especially when someone doesn't get it, it's always comedy gold in my mind. Yeah, but Hambone knew as soon as I said something. He's so attuned to and correct me if I'm wrong, Rogers. Is it something of an inflection in my voice, like something changes in my voice inflection that like clues you in even before you see what's happening, that you know that this is about to be something ridiculous?
I just think I've heard it and seen it so much now. It's like watching you breathe or blink your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I understand. Yeah,
No, you would not have started the show today like this if you would have listened to a certain segment of Fletcher's show this morning with Adam.
Oh, I did. What did I miss?
They brought up the camo stuff and how much I love it. And they talked, man, he doubled down like yesterday. Well, because I was not in the best of moods.
Oh,
so they knew they were kind of tinkering me.
Oh.
Well, I'm back in the shape with you. Vehicles
boy.
Back in the shop.
Oh, jeez.
And I spent the night on the floor here last night.
Damn it, Rogers.
And I didn't have my airbag that Pump Man gave me because I had taken it out of the truck to take one of my dogs to the vet a few weeks ago, and I hadn't put it back because there wasn't any scheduled games or anything I was going to be here at.
There was no reason for you to be in the studio.
No, but when I left last night to go home, my brake went straight to the floor of my truck, barely stopped it.
Yeah.
I creeped about 5 miles an hour over to where I went. They were about ready to close. I mean, or the brake guy was leaving because it was 5 o'clock.
Right.
And the lady was like, "Well, you want to just bring it back tomorrow?" I said, "I'm not driving this thing." I said, I said it just went to the floor and almost went across Westport into the fence on I-20.
Yikes.
So I had to back up and then slowly get over to where I took it. And I said, "Can I just leave it here overnight?" And she goes, "Okay, that's fine." She goes, "We'll be able to get to it, a little sooner." I said, "Well, my only problem is, now I'm like, am I going to go home?" And I finally just said, "Man, is there somebody here that can take me 2 blocks away back to the station?"
Right.
And luckily, the guy that did it the last time saw me and goes, "Man, I'll be out in a second." So he brought me back to the station. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to crash here. There's no sense in me going home because I'm going to have to get a lift or something.
Right, figure out how to get home.
And then I'm going to have to call Fletcher and go, "Man, can you get me at 4:30?
Right.
And I just didn't. Even though Fletcher this morning was like, "Oh, man, I'd have come got you last night and this morning."
Yeah.
I was like, "I know you would have. That's why I didn't want to do it to you."
Right.
So I ended up staying here and not knowing what to do. But I watched Moneyball. I had the Astros game on. I was doing everything I could to kind of occupy my mind because I'm like, this is 2 months in a row of having truck trouble. And I thought of you because I know you're right back in the shop again as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not knowing what to do because the lady's telling me a couple things that are going to be just as expensive as the last 2 trips. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, luckily they just called right for your show. It just ended up being a leaky brake line that was spewing out all my brake fluid.
Oh, well, that's good.
Instead of it being the 2 things they thought it might be,
like having to actually put new brake pads or new brakes or whatever. Yeah.
I did that 2 months ago. That's why I was really confused that this happened.
Yeah.
But then they mentioned last night, well, if it's the master cylinder, that's in the engine, which controls where the fluid goes.
Right.
And I didn't get that replaced because it's so expensive. So they were like, it might be that, and I went, oh man, no. So they just called right for your show and said, hey, it was just leaking from a brake line. We'll have it fixed by this afternoon. The master cylinder, yes, it's 22 years old, but it wasn't causing the leakage. It was a hole in the brake line. It should be ready this evening.
Good.
So Kelly's going to drop me off sometime this afternoon when he's ready to leave, and I'll be able to get the vehicle. But yeah, I was between sleeping on the floor and having no sleep and being old
concerned.
Concerned and worrying about where am I going to get this money from?
Exactly.
And then wake up today with the old back hurting and the knee hurting because I'm sleeping on a concrete floor that's got thin carpet on it.
Right.
A couple times I tried to sleep in a chair. That's not real comfortable either because it's one of these desk chairs. It's not like a big old cushion chair.
Yeah.
So this morning when they started with that, I was like, oh, and we all both know that Rogers loves a real good camo joke, and they were being facetious, and they knew it.
Right.
But I was like, man, I'm really not in the mood for this right now.
Not today. Not today. Don't do it today.
I really was, man.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah, I was like, but I thought about you but I was like, you know what? Instead of bothering a bunch of people, because I don't know if it's going to be super bad. Then today, I was going to have to figure out how I'm going to get wherever I need to go from here on out.
Right.
And that's why I just said, you know what? I'm not going to bother anybody. I'm just going to chill at the station, start anew tomorrow, and hopefully I get good news. And thank the Lord I got good news that it wasn't anything major like it was before.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get it this evening, and my old truck and me will putter along.
Just motoring
Speaking
along.
of, how's yours going?
Well, it's exactly what I called him this morning, and they said it's exactly what my dad's mechanic Steve said it was.
The
which
water
is the water
pump.
They said they'll replace the water pump. I said, is there anything else? Because they went and did a whole, they checked everything out. I said, is there anything else?
Yeah, because with mine, when I had mine last month, they had to do the fan clutch and put all new belts on. So be prepared if they tell you that.
Yeah, and I said, what else, anything else? And they said, you need a new cabin air filter. But it's not, it's not like it's
that's not going to shut the vehicle down.
Right,
yeah.
No, it's not anything pressing. They said you need new windshield wipers.
Get you a new one of those after this long trip you're about to go on.
I said, you know what? Just do it. If you already got it there, just do it.
Oh, so you already did it?
Nah, just get it done.
Well, then you know what? That'll be one less thing you have to worry about along the way of causing any kind of trouble.
Exactly.
Good for you, Peanut.
So I'm like, just go ahead and make it happen. Get it done. I said, the main thing is I need this thing by the weekend because I'm leaving Monday to drive to Canada.
And did they guarantee that?
They said they would get it done by the end of the week.
Good deal.
So.
And another surprise I found out this morning is I thought maybe Lord Hester was going with you next week. He laid on us that he's going to be out all next week, but he's headed to Seattle and Dallas to watch soccer.
Oh, he's going the other direction.
He's going the other direction, yes. And I think one of them might even be an MLB baseball game where he sees the Royals in one of the cities.
Sure.
But so I was like, wait a minute. Adam's gone all 5 days. Patrick's gone all 5 days. I looked at Fletcher. I said, do you want to go all 5 days? And he goes, well, do you want to? And I said, well, man, that's really up to you. I said, I'm not going anywhere or going to go do anything.
Right.
So if you want to show up and do a show, because he's kind of in my boat too, of we're just trying to occupy our time.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's do a show. I said, you know what? Maybe we'll take a Friday off and have a 3-day weekend the next weekend. He goes, you know what? Let's think about that. But we didn't realize both you and Lord Hester were going to be gone the whole week next week. So I was like, well, it's going to be the Fletch and Rod show for at least 4 days.
Sounds like vacation week to me.
We did. Fletch looked at me, but since I'm like, oh, yeah, man, I'll get in the car and I'm going to – he knew that's not me and he knew I was just going to be at home. I said, look, man, I'd much rather come up here and do a radio show with you and then we can go to lunch a couple days with Kelly because I won't have to worry about Patrick's show. He goes, you know what? Let's plan that. He goes, I really do want to have a lunch or two with Kelly. And I said, well, next week – we could go any day, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, because once we're done with your show, then I'm done for the afternoon.
Yeah, you can stay till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening.
That may be a Friday thing.
Yeah. Well, it might be a Thursday thing, Rogers, if you take Friday off.
If we do, but that's where I kind of compromised with him. I was like, hey, if we do happen to take a day off, let's just do it on a Friday where we have a 3-day. He goes, you know what? That might not be a bad idea. So everybody next week, be prepared for no Adam Hester and no Patrick Netherton.
That's right.
But you will get Tim and Raj, and I don't know T-Bob and Jacob's schedule, but I take it that they will be on. But with summer here and the dog days and people having to take vacation, I cannot guarantee that. But I do know Fletch and I will be here, but Patrick will be traveling, Adam will be traveling, and it's the dog days of summer. So I think people have learned over the years, get used. You're going to hear a couple national guys you don't like, but once it's all over with, by the time we all get
the
back,
Green Bay Phoenix maybe in
absolutely. And by the time we all get back together again, we should be hitting close to NFL training camp. The World Series would have been over. The NBA Finals would have been over. The NHL Stanley Cups would have been over. And we'll be able to start talking about training camps and the upcoming football season. And then everything starts falling in line again for the fall. And it's going to be here for you know what, my friend.
Oh, yeah, always is. And by the way, not for nothing, we are going to have at least one guest before the week's over with, Rogers. Ross Dellinger is going to join us on Friday.
Oh, man, love Ross.
Yeah, so Ross Dellinger will join us on Friday.
Good deal.
Courtesy of the Pearl Restaurant Hotline. We'll talk a lot about the goings-on with the SEC and with the big NCAA lawsuit that was settled and how that's all going to play out. So we'll get into that. And I may try to line up one more guest. May try to line up one more guest before we get out of here for the week. We'll see if we can't get somebody on. But we will make it happen. Our show brought to you by the Pearl Restaurant in Shreveport and Bobby L. Green Plumbing. Very excited to so what was the gist of the conversation this morning about my camo jokes, Rogers? I feel like I need to go back and watch or listen to it.
I actually think Adam and Fletch were watching that baseball game behind me, the North Carolina State.
The re-air.
And they saw the camouflage, and they both had seen what you had done the day before. Right. So they went, well, Hambone loves a good camo. Because I turned around and looked, and I'm like you. I'm like, those are hideous.
Yeah, they really are.
Those are hideous.
I don't mind an alternate uniform if it's not ugly as hell.
Oh,
and
it
that
was
thing
ugly
was
as sin,
ugly
man.
as hell.
It was a weird combination for a camo.
Yeah, it was bad.
So that kind of, and it wasn't long. We just kind of talked about that. And like I
Right.
said, they know, we know Hambone loves a good count. And I just went, because they know you do it to me all the time.
Oh,
even
yes.
way more than them.
Yes.
And they were just like, and like I said, again, they knew I was kind of cranky. I hadn't had any sleep. I'm sore. I didn't even get to eat yesterday because of everything that took place. So I was one of those kind of, I'm still, the old ham bone and can turn it on, but in between breaks, man, I'm limping around. My back is killing me. My knee is swollen.
You should have,
I'm
Rogers,
just like,
you should have hollered at me. I'd have delivered, at least had a pizza delivered up there for
well,
you.
it got to be so late. I can't eat too late anyway.
I know,
so I
but
thought,
I
you know
would've-
what?
I would've
Because
sent
I
you
thought about
something.
getting a pizza delivered, and I thought, man, I don't need to have pizza in my stomach and then try to lay on a hard concrete floor. I said, I will never get any sleep. So I just bit the bullet and, I'll deal with today and go with that. And then again, even at the time they were messing with me is when the truck hadn't been looked at. It's parked at where it is. I don't have any idea when I'm getting the phone call or what kind of news I'm getting. So they knew I was on edge.
Right.
And they were just messing with me a little bit. But
Yeah.
what triggered it is they were showing the replay of
Yeah,
the game
yeah.
you were talking about.
That's funny.
And that led them to, did you see Patrick's post about the camo? We know Hambone loves that.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
I said, you got no understanding. You guys, said you got no
You
idea,
guys have
guys.
no idea, boy.
A kid with no head.
What happened to that kid's head, Rogers? Something.
I
something's
just was
going
like,
on
oh,
with
good
his head.
God. I was like, between Kelly about to smack the bartender, I was like, he's
Yeah.
about to backhand you as
Yeah.
well. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
But it was funny because the bartender left us alone after you left.
Well, he.
I think he kind of picked up on.
Yeah, I
unless
think
you
he knew
texted him.
Right, I think he knew that the person that was most
With
well
us.
equipped to handle him was me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would
And-
provide a little buffer for him against you
Yes.
two because
Yes.
I kind of I
But
get that.
the guy we were with, though, man, he's got the quicker temper of all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Because you saw how quick he went. What's this guy's deal, man? I was right in the middle of time. I went,
yeah,
good
he
God.
came in and interrupted him.
But yeah, after you left, brother, that was it. There was no more coming over with stupid sports topics to try to
That's-
get us to be aggravated. He stayed and we stayed there till 5 o'clock. So that means besides bringing us other drinks,
Right.
never really spoke to us again about anything.
Okay. Well, hey,
else.
as long as
And
he
we were there
figured it
so
out.
long. The other hostess showed up, the one I like, Sarah.
Right. Well, it's funny because as a bartender, you should have a good read on people. Like part of being a bartender is sort of understanding body language and how people are kind of
and
being.
me
or
growing up the
whatever.
son of a bartender, my mother,
Yeah.
she was one of the best at it. So
Yeah.
believe me,
Yeah,
it
so-
aggravates me even more than you when it's a bartender. They're like, man, be a little more.
Yeah, kind of read the room a little bit, so to speak.
Absolutely. And,
And,
he knows me and you, and he
And
knows he can
and
pick with
and
us.
and he obviously figured it out because he
Yes.
backed off. So
well, because I
kudos
think
to him.
I think he figured out the heat coming off Kelly's frame.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, look, whatever it takes to figure it out that doesn't involve you getting smacked in
Because
the face.
we didn't need to see K Park come out,
No, he's a fiery man when it's
but especially since he started off with the margarita. You know me, I'm gonna have beer before I have anything hard. But he went straight with the margarita, and I went, oh man.
yeah.
But it was all good. He did. It was funny how the dude didn't mess with us again after that, except for
Well.
bringing us more chips and beer and stuff like that. So it ended up being a real good afternoon. But I was like, okay, at least I don't have to put up with camo jokes and this guy talking about teams I don't care about anymore.
There you go. Perfect. All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come
All right,
back
let me
and
get to the
introduce
music
show,
category. So
and,
just fill for a second, my friend.
We'll do a little break here, then we'll come back and introduce the show and kind of get you into the show proper. USA Basketball has talked about why they did not put Caitlin Clark on their team. We will talk a little bit about we got the U.S. Open coming up. We've got all kind of fun stuff happening. And yes, we'll talk more Caitlin Clark because we kind of have to. It continues to be a talking point. NFL, Major League Baseball, we've got the NBA Finals continuing. Whatever you need, we got it for you. A couple of ways to get in touch with the show we'll tell you about coming up in just a bit as well. Our show brought to you by the Pearl Restaurant in Shreveport and Bobby L. Green Plumbing. We'll take a break, come back, introduce the show, tell you all the ways to get in touch with us and whatnot. We'll do that next on the Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 FM, and youtube.com/@NethertonShow. We'll be back. Oh, yeah. Little Kiss getting us back into it. I'm assuming Trey will drop Kiss at some point. I don't know. I know he's a Rush guy, but somebody's got to drop Kiss in the chat, right? So somebody drop Kiss in the chat. I need to hear it. Yay. I dropped Kiss in the chat. How about that? I'm not afraid. Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 FM. Rogers and Patrick, that's us. USA Basketball has come out and said why it's not putting Caitlin Clark on its Olympic team, which is, by the way, hilarious. It's so laughable. We'll discuss that coming up in just a bit. We've also got MLB, we've got NBA, we've got NFL. Aaron Rodgers skipping mini camps, all kind of fun stuff we can get to. A couple of ways you can get in touch with the show here. You can call us on the Pearl Restaurant Hotline. That's 318-RALLY-45, 318-725-5945.
Hello.
Hey, Coach O. So that's how you reach us over on the Pearl Restaurant Hotline. You can also reach us on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line, 318-657-0HAM, 318-657-0426, also known as the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line. We're also available on YouTube if you would like to stream us on YouTube, youtube.com/@Netherton Show. That is youtube.com/@Netherton Show. We're still sitting we're sitting at 390 subscriptions, 10 away from 400. I'd like to get to 400 before I leave on vacation next week. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. All you have to do is go to Netherton, the Netherton Show page, youtube.com/@Netherton Show. Click on the subscribe button, and that's it. That's all it takes, and you will be subscribed 100% free, won't cost you a dime, and we'd absolutely love to have you. So please jump on and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Let's see, we're also available on Twitter/X. If you'd like to do it, get us over there. That is easy to do. @Netherton Show is the main feed. That guy would be @HeyBoyRogers, the studio sleeper. And I would be @PT Netherton. So @PT Netherton, @HeyBoyRogers, and @Netherton Show are the Twitter feeds. Also available on Facebook, by the way. We have a Netherton Show Facebook page you can go look up as well. Then you can find us via the app. That is a terrific way to tune in. 1130 The Tiger. Search for that on Google Play or your iTunes App Store. And you can listen to us in crystal clear HD audio. A terrific way to tune in that regard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man who slept on the floor of the studio last night.
We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, and in the name of the Lollipop Guild, we wish to welcome you to Munchkin Land.
Hey, boy.
Hey, boy.
Hi, man.
Hello.
Well, you've already heard from my boy Hambone.
I think we've kind of covered this,
Yeah,
so
we
let's
covered-
get into the
we-
meat and
we
potatoes,
covered-
baby.
We covered the most of what's gone on in Hambone's world and my world.
And your world, yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
it's-
getting
it's-
everybody. Now you're about to give them some meat and potatoes, buddy.
Oh, do we have meat and potatoes around here somewhere, Rogers?
Oh, you're about to talk. You're about to talk so much sports that people are going to get full.
Oh, all right. Dang, it's a lot of pressure, man. Don't put so much pressure on me to talk so much sports, Rogers.
Well, and you're about to have a week off, so let people have it, man. Drop them the Netherton knowledge.
Oh, there's knowledge? Wait, I
There
have
is.
knowledge? When did that happen?
Well, if you listen to you do.
Oh, well, good thing I don't listen to me, Rogers. Thank goodness I'm not listening to myself.
Woo! That's a smart man right there.
Yeah, good thing I'm not doing that. We do have the brackets are set in the College World Series. We do know who is playing when, what time, all of that stuff. Games on Friday and Saturday. It will start with North Carolina, Virginia. That will be the Friday. I believe that all times are Eastern. Oh, all times are Central, Omaha time. So Friday at 1, North Carolina, Virginia. We'll obviously be keeping up with that one. Tennessee and Florida State will follow Friday at 6. Then the other side of the bracket will be Kentucky and NC State Saturday at 1. Then A&M and Florida finishing off the first games. That will be Saturday at 6. Bracket 1 has Saturday off. Then they play on Sunday. Meanwhile, bracket 2 then has Sunday off, and they play on Monday. And then everybody gets going again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then the best of 3 for the final series is Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, the if necessary game. I don't know who's calling the games. I'm assuming it's going to be Mike Monaco and Carl Ravitch again. And I'll be honest with you. Like, I try not to be critical of other broadcasters. I try not to do that kind of thing. But I'm not a huge fan of Carl Ravitch on baseball, especially on the College World Series. Just for whatever reason. I'd rather have Tom Hart there calling the College World Series, to be honest with you. He called a really nice game last night in the standalone Georgia and NC State game. So would not hurt my feelings at all if it was a Mike Monaco, Tom Hart production, and then Tom Hart calling the championship of the best of 3 on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But yeah, it is basically what could amount to a 10-day event in Omaha. A lot of time taken up there in Nebraska to get through the College World Series, but it's always a heck of a lot of fun. 2 4-team regionals, basically, and then the winner of Bracket 1, which is Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Florida State, will meet the winner of Bracket 2, which is Kentucky, NC State, A&M, and Florida. So higher likelihood that you'll get an ACC team out of Bracket 1. There's only one SEC team in there. Higher likelihood you'll get an SEC team out of Bracket 2, as there's only one ACC team in Bracket 2. You almost had almost a guaranteed ACC versus SEC final. However, NC State matched up with Kentucky, and Tennessee matched up with Florida State. Assures us that is not going to happen. But still, a lot of fun. Games will be on ESPN and ESPN, and then ultimately ABC. But all of the games will be on the big ESPN, starting Friday at 1, Friday at 1, Friday at 6, Saturday at 1, Saturday at 6, and then moving forward from there. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can call us on the Pearl Restaurant Hotline. It is 318-RALLY-45, 318-725-5945. Or you can reach us on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line. That number is 318-657-0HAM, 318-657-0426. You can find us either of those ways, or you can comment over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Netherton Show. You can watch the show there and can also comment if you would like to do that as well. So right now, the betting favorite is Tennessee. They have the shortest odds of winning the tournament. Apparently, at least that's what odds makers believe. So if you're a betting man, Tennessee may not be who you want to look at. Trying to find the odds real quick. I know somebody posted them earlier. Let me go. There we go. Tennessee plus 290, Texas A&M plus 330, Kentucky plus 550, then North Carolina plus 600, Florida State plus 700, Virginia plus 900, Florida plus 1,100, and NC State plus 1,200. So Tennessee, A&M, and Kentucky who have all been number one at some point in time during the season, are your betting favorites. Then North Carolina, Florida State, and Virginia are your next group, and then Florida and North Carolina State, NC State are your more long shots. All right, let's get to some text messages over on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line, 318-657-0HAM, 318-657-0426. 318 said, if you ever marry, wear a camo tux. Where's the groom? Yeah, no, actually, 318, it's more appropriate that my wife would be, or my fiance would be wearing camouflage, because no one would be able to see her because she doesn't exist. Squishy said, I hate to hear the night Rogers had. Yeah, Hambone gets those every so often, where it's, stay at the station rather than try to find a way home and then find a way back at, 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So, yeah, occasionally, and then to not have the air mattress. That's the part that was the worst, is not having the air mattress. Double J said, why didn't they put a Murphy bed in the studio during all these renovations for situations just like this? Yeah, I don't know, man. Find a way to put a bed in there for the old Hambone. That would have made some sense.
Well, believe me, we can't even put a thing on the window, much less that.
True, Rogers. No.
And I've already been kind of talked to about this fridge.
Oh, really? We finally had a little.
Finally had it. It's going to have to go eventually, and I was like, well, where's it supposed to go? Since nobody's agreed to give us another room.
Right.
So right now we're in the middle of trying to negotiate where it might go.
All right.
There's an office that might be available that was supposed to go back to someone else.
Yeah.
But apparently that someone else has learned they can do all their work in the studio they're in.
Yeah.
And then go home and not have to have an office for that.
There you go.
So we're hinging on trying to get somebody to talk somebody into letting us have that once it's finally free.
Well, I hope it happens.
Then we can put a little love seat in there. I can put a couple comfortable chairs. We'll put the fridge in there, a TV.
Yeah, anything you want to keep
anyway,
cold.
we were complimented on our old office how it was the most nice, clean, and neat one of anybody in the building.
Well, yeah, because Hambone kept it up. That's why.
Absolutely, and I took that as a very big compliment because the person had no idea who was upkeeping it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no. Everything in here has got the Hambone touch.
Double J also said cabin air filter replacement was a good call. International road trip with a bunch of guys who plan to eat well along the way is a recipe for air quality concerns.
All of a sudden, it's the campfire scene of Blazing
Yeah,
Saddles.
no, I can't argue with that. Also, I've noticed when I travel, is when it tends to be worse for me. And especially if I go to different altitudes. Like when I change altitudes, for whatever reason, I tend to get a little more air running through the system, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I agree that the cabin air filter probably needs to be in top shape if we're going to be going and eating well. We're going to have buffalo wings when we go to Niagara Falls, and yeah, we probably couldn't hurt to have a little extra upkeep on the old air filter. That's for sure. By the way, Rogers, I had 2 different people text me during your show this morning, during Fletcher's show this morning, for Fletch.
Yeah, the guy finally picked up on that, and he said, man, I've been texting Patrick all morning.
Yeah, he's been texting me the whole morning. It was actually 2 different people that were doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Chuck said a bunch of stuff about Caitlin Clark and all this and whatever, and I said, hey, you're texting the wrong show. He said, my bad, Netherton, and then texted me this afternoon and said, my apologies for blowing your phone up and waking you up this morning, which you didn't wake me up. I was already awake. So, and also, I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb until I wake up. So if you and there's I have a list of 5 people that are can get through when my phone is on Do Not Disturb. And that's the list. It's kind of an emergency contact kind of thing. My mom, my dad, my sister, 1 or 2 friends that, if you call me at 4 in the morning, it's going through, like it's going to ring. If anybody else calls me at 4 in the morning, you ain't getting through. And so that's what I kind of have going on my phone. So yeah, if you're texting me on my Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're not getting through. Like it'll be sitting there when I wake up and look at it. So you don't have to worry about waking me up. The other one though, Rogers, was 318, who was texting Ben and JJ's show yesterday. And he was also the one that was kind of getting after me about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And Rogers, he's also the one that is actually won one of our items from the LSU thing from last week. But yeah, he or she, it could be a she for all I know, was texting, and then yesterday afternoon was texting about. And by the way, we haven't even mentioned Paul Maneri going to South Carolina as their new baseball coach. But they were texting Ben and JJ, and I said, "Hey, you're texting the wrong line." They said, "Dang, thanks." Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Paul Maneri going to South Carolina to take over the Gamecocks program when, a lot of folks thought that he was going to be retired, but his name was involved in the Notre Dame job last year, and I think maybe one other job last year as well.
Miami,
and then didn't get either one of them, and now South Carolina comes along and they go and hire Maneri. He's apparently taking a hitting coach from one program, and he's taking another coach. He's taking one coach from LSU that is going to go with him and be one of his assistants. So yeah, Paul Maneri apparently wasn't retired. He was just taking a couple years off and is back in the business. By the way, LSU plays at South Carolina in baseball this coming season, so no homecoming for Paul Maneri. Someone also pointed out, which I thought was interesting, that Jay Johnson has been the head coach at LSU for 3 years, and every year he didn't have Paul Skeens, they did not make a super regional. They did not host a regional. They certainly did not make it to the College World Series. They didn't win a championship, all of that stuff. The record was not great in conference play and all this stuff. But the year they had Skeens, obviously they ran wild and went and won the national championship. And my only response to that would be, would you take 2 years of being okay, decent, fine, but you're not getting to Omaha, with 1 year of winning a national championship? And anyone who says they wouldn't is a damn liar. Like, you would 100% take, hey, year number one, we're above 500, but it's tough in the league. We don't have a great league record. We make a regional, don't get to a super, don't get to Omaha. Then the next year, you host a regional, you host a super, you get to Omaha, you get to the final series, and you win it, and you win a national championship. And then the next year, you fall back off a little bit, and it's kind of back to what you did in year one. Would you take that? Yes, of course you would. A national championship every 3 years, even if the other two were sort of, kind of mediocre. Like, there's nothing that says that having 50 wins and not winning a title is great, right? Like having 45, 48, 50 wins, flaming out in the super regionals, or having 45, 48, 50 wins, getting to Omaha, but going 2 in Q, or not winning a title is like, that's great. Like, you had a good year, but would you trade that for 2 years of being okay, good, but not getting there, with 1 year of winning a title? And the answer to that question is absolutely you would. Give me a championship every 3 years, and you would be 100% satisfied with that. You'd grumble and grouse about the other 2 years. Why can't we sustain 45 wins, 50 wins? Why don't we get to Omaha every year, two out of 3 years, whatever? I get it, right? You want that sustained level of excellence. But if if the one good year out of 3 is a championship, then count me in, brother. I will 100% sign up for a championship every third year. Chuck said, but look at what Jay Johnson did in Arizona. Yeah, I mean he was great at Arizona, and with resources that were much less. You know, the resources at LSU were so superior to what he had at Arizona. Now a bunch of guys have already hit the portal at LSU. It's a bunch of dudes. You know, you don't see a lot of starters that are hitting the portal. I mean, Paxton Kling started a bit. A bunch of dudes in the portal. LSU's already grabbed a couple of guys out of the portal. You know, they're going to restock, and this is going to kind of be the nature of LSU baseball, I would imagine, under Jay Johnson. It's going to be, you know, lose some guys that came in thinking they were going to get more playing time than they did. You know, they kind of get mad, go hit the portal. I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to start every game at I don't know, Texas Tech, or I'm going to go start every game at Houston, or, you know, Baylor, whatever. And then, you know, as opposed to I've got guys that are better than me, or I'm not, you know, whatever the standards are for LSU, I'm not there. And so instead of kind of waiting on, hey, maybe next year it'll be my turn, you know, people hit the portal. And the other thing I always want to remind people about the portal, every single time I need to remind you this about the portal. Just because you're in the portal doesn't mean you have to leave. All right? It doesn't mean you're done. Very well, you know, Jay Johnson could go to the kids in the portal and say, look, once you put your name in the portal, you're dead to me. Don't come back. Right? He could say that. Or he could say, hey, get in the portal, look at your options. If you decide you don't want to go anywhere else, we'd love to have you back. Or he could say, you know, get in the portal, and if you find another option, great. Like, we wish you well. Best of luck. Like, that, you can handle the portal in a number of ways when it comes to your own guys being in the portal. And I think Jay Johnson probably will handle it appropriately. He keeps getting guys out of the portal that are fantastic, a.k.a. Paul Skeens, a.k.a. both your starting pitchers from this last year, Jump and the other kid, Holman. So, you know, the portal taketh away and the portal also giveth. And Jay Johnson seems to understand how that works. But don't automatically assume that these kids that have all put their name in the portal are necessarily automatically gone. You know, and maybe he sees a kid, you know, a Dutton, let's say, who's in the portal. He could go to him and say, look, I got plans for you, man. You're going to be our Saturday starter next year. You know, stay with us. And maybe he says, okay, sounds good, right? You don't know. You don't know how these things, how it's handled. So that's what you find. Chuck said Jay Johnson is using the portal like someone sifting for gold. He's going to keep the best, just like Link Jarrett at FSU. It's his second year, and he went out and handpicked the guys he wanted. To look at them now. Yeah, exactly. That's what the portal is, especially in baseball. You know, you go get this guy who started at East Carolina and was their number one and an incredible talent, and he wants to come and play for a championship. So he comes to LSU. You go get this guy who was a star at, you know, Texas Tech. Or you go get this kid who was absolutely incredible for the Creighton, right? Whatever. And you bring those guys in, you handpick them, you put them in there. You still have to build the majority of your roster through traditional means, high school recruiting, that kind of thing. But, you know, or JUCO, that sort of thing. But it is easy to build a roster and get it done through the transfer portal. So there you go. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about what USA Basketball had to say about Caitlin Clark. You can reach us over on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line. 318-657-0-HAM is the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line. You can call us on the Pearl Restaurant hotline, 318-Rally45-725-5945. Or you can reach us on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Netherton Show. We'll be back. Just living downtown, driving the old men crazy, as one does, I guess. Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 FM. He's Rogers, I'm Patrick. Happy to have you with us. You can find us on the Pearl Restaurant Hotline, 318-RALLY-45, 318-725-5945. Speaking of the Pearl Restaurant, in the old La Madeleine building, Fern and 70th, absolutely incredible. We're almost there. We're almost to get your food at Pearl time. Not open on Mondays, Tuesdays, but open Wednesday through Sunday. Just the finest Louisiana food that you're going to find. You've got everything from raw oysters. They've got an incredible selection of oysters. Usually do oyster specials on Wednesdays, but you need to check out their Facebook page to make sure that you're staying up on what all of the deals they have are. But they usually do some sort of oyster deals on Wednesday. Chef Robert oftentimes will be out on the grill grilling up oysters. Robert, who owns the place, Chef Angie, like they're all taking care of things, and Robert often will be out there handling the oysters himself. Matter of fact, when we were in there the other day, he had given some of his staff off because they were going to be working at dinner, and they knew they were going to be busy at dinner. So he was back there. He was basically sous chefing back in the back. So Robert will do a little bit of everything, but all kind of great oysters they have available all week long, Wednesday through Sunday, whether you like them fresh and raw, or perhaps you would like a char grill or a Rockefeller. They got all kind of different oysters available to you at the Pearl Restaurant, 70th and Fern Avenue in the old La Madeleine building. You already heard Rogers. The burgers are ham bone approved. The steaks are ham bone approved. The boudin dip, the Cajun fries, the catfish chaffalaya are all Netherton approved. The fried green tomatoes are, and the po' boys are all Fletcher and Hester approved. Basically, there's nothing I've had or nothing that I've heard of anyone having that they didn't really enjoy at the Pearl Restaurant. That's what you got going on. Robert and his crew do such an amazing job. Go see them starting tomorrow at lunch, tomorrow through Sunday. Lunch and dinner available to you at the Pearl with an incredible menu, a lot of food available, all kind of Louisiana favorites. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Not to mention they got a 47-foot bar that is got taps of all kind. They've got the harder stuff. They've got wine, just a veritable cornucopia of drinks available to you. That is at the Pearl at their 47-foot bar, where you can just chill and have a drink and be somebody. I know a lot of folks who like to go in, have a beer, have a dozen raw oysters. That's called, I think that's called the Buster Netherton Special. Just go in, have a beer, have a dozen raw oysters. Likes to mix that cocktail sauce or ketchup with a little bit of that horseradish, and put it all on a cracker. He likes to take his oysters, dredge them through his homemade cocktail sauce, throw it on a cracker, and hammer it back. So Buster ain't afraid. And the Pearl Restaurant sounds like exactly his kind of place to go do that. The Pearl, 70th and Fern Avenue, and proud sponsor. Again, when you go in, tell them you heard about it right here on the Patrick Netherton Show. All right, so USA Basketball has come out and said the reason Caitlin Clark is not on the team is because of her inexperience. Jen Rosati, who is the selection committee chair, said, quote, she was talking to the Associated Press, quote, "Here's the basketball criteria that we were given as a committee, and how do we evaluate our players based on that? And when you base your decision on criteria, there were other players that were harder to cut because they checked a lot more boxes. Then sometimes it comes down to position, style of play, for Coach Cheryl Reeve, and then sometimes a vote." Diana Taurasi back for her 6th Olympics. She was the one we were talking about you probably could have left off if you were going to put Clark on the team. She is playing in her 6th Olympics, 42 years old. Other returners, Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Nephisia Collier, Jewel Lloyd, Brittany Griner. Americans added Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young, who, by the way, were part of the inaugural 3-on-3 gold medal team at the Tokyo Games. And then your newcomers, Alyssa Thomas, Sabrina Ionescu, and Kalia Copper. All three played on the American team that won the World Cup in Australia in 2022. First time in Olympic history that the women's team does not have a player under the age of 25 on the roster. Ionescu and Young are both 26. Rosati said age was never brought up in any of our discussions. There was inclusion of a lot of young players in the pool. When we focused on the selection criteria, the players that fit the most just happened to be above 25, not intentional. Basically said that all of the players have national team experience. Clark does not, because she has always had something else to do at the time. Meanwhile, you had USA Basketball CEO Jim Tooley said Clark's going to get better, going to continue to get better and better. Really hope that she's a big part of our future going forward. The selection committee had a set of criteria to pick the team, includes playing ability, positions played, adaptability to the international game. Rosati said it would be irresponsible for us to talk about her in a way other than how she would impact the play of the team, because it wasn't the purview of our committee to decide how many people would watch or how many people would root for the U.S. It was our purview to create the best team we could for head coach Cheryl Reeves. So there you go. You have multiple players who were not added, including Erica Agunbawale. She's averaging 26 points a game. She was left off the team. And also one of the players we had mentioned coming in, that was Chelsea Gray, has been injured. She has not played yet this season. She's recovering from a leg injury. Final rosters are due for by July 26th. And after that, no changes can be made. So there you go. Caitlin Clark, of course, was super classy when it happened. Only 4 times has a WNBA rookie made the team. Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, and Sylvia Fowles all had national team experience. So there you go. Everyone very excited, as you would imagine. Everyone wants to play, and Diana Taurasi is at 42 years old, going to break the record for most Olympics played in the sport of basketball. So there you go. U.S. team will train for about a week in Phoenix in July. They'll play an exhibition game against Germany in London before heading to France. In pool play, the Americans will face Japan, Belgium, and Germany. Then obviously, if you come out of pool play, you will move along and move into the elimination round, knockout round, if you will, and we'll go from there. So there you go. Look, to me, it goes back to could you make an argument that Clark could be or should be on the team? Yes. Does she likely deserve it? No, not in terms of if you say, is she one of the 6 best guards in the WNBA? No, but I would argue that right now she's better than Diana Taurasi. Even though Taurasi's a bulldog, she's tough, but she's old. She's 42 years old, man. She's basically my age out there playing. So you're telling me that you couldn't deny Diana Taurasi a 6th Olympic Games and put Caitlin Clark on the team? Of course you could. And there are other terrific players that are also not on the team. And look, if Chelsea Gray's not ready to go, or I'm assuming if no one else gets injured between now and then you may have an alternate that gets put on the team. But this was a unique position that the sport of women's basketball had, and that is basically trying to ride this wave of popularity that Caitlin Clark's bringing to the sport. I mean, you look at it, like, I know who Brittany Griner is. I know who Sabrina Ionescu is. I know who Kelsey Plum is. I know who Brianna Stewart is. I know who Diana Taurasi is. And I know who Asia Wilson is, right? And Jackie Young. Like, I don't know Alyssa Thomas that well. I saw her playing last night for the Sun against Caitlin Clark and the Fever, right? Like, I don't know Jewel Lloyd that well. I don't know Chelsea Gray that well. I don't know Nafisa Collier that well. I don't know Kalia Copper that well. But this is an opportunity, right? Am I more likely to tune in to the women's Olympic team? Would I be more likely to tune into that team with Caitlin Clark on it? Probably. Will I still watch anyway? Yeah, but probably not as much. I probably would have watched more if Caitlin Clark was on the team. And in so doing, then I start to learn who Chelsea Gray is, Kalia Copper, Nafisa Collier, right? Jewel Lloyd, Alyssa Thomas. I start to learn who these players are, and now I grow my rooting interest in women's basketball, much the same way as the ratings and the attendance for all of these Indiana Fever games it will raise the, like, I didn't know anything about a lot of the WNBA. I was not a casual or ardent WNBA fan, right? Well, I start watching Caitlin Clark. My mom, by the way, like, you want to talk about driving audience, my mom loves Caitlin Clark. I don't know that she can name Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, because we watch a lot of LSU women's basketball, and my mom knows who Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are, right? She doesn't know anybody else in the WNBA, but she knows those two. So why not take the opportunity that is presented for you and say, hey, we're going to put Caitlin Clark on the team simply because this is a unique time. Now, you can't say this publicly in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that we're putting her on the team because this is a unique opportunity to drive eyeballs to the sport of women's basketball. You can't say that publicly, but you could put it in place privately. You certainly could. And you could argue that you could replace Diana Taurasi with her. And you wouldn't, Taurasi's a great leader. She's tough as nails. Like, we know all that. We're aware of all that. She's also been on 5 Olympic teams, right? It's not, we don't necessarily need someone out there for their 6th Olympic team. So yeah, replace Diana Taurasi with Caitlin Clark and let the ratings reflect that. Because again, if people talk a lot about, well, it's the Olympics, people are watching anyway. No, they're not. Last year's Olympic ratings was less than 6. That's a terrible rating. Terrible rating. Your last 3 Olympic cycles, 10, 7, and 5 have been your ratings. That's not good. Caitlin Clark shows up. I mean, Caitlin Clark's finals game against LSU 2 years ago, and then this past year against South Carolina, drew way more of an audience than any of the Olympic competitions that we've seen over the last 3 to 4 Olympic cycles. I understand why you leave her off. I'm not one of these people that's not going to watch simply because Caitlin Clark's not on the team, but I probably would have watched more with her on the team. And I think that's my point. I'm not here to tell you there's some sort of social justice, racial, like, I'm talking simply as a television ratings, popularity of the sport type of metric, right? That Caitlin Clark is women's basketball is in an incredible place to take advantage of what she has, and the momentum that she has, and the eyeballs, and the fandom that she has. And to say, and Christine Brennan, who first reported this, has stood by it, And to say that the reason you don't want her on the team, or one of the reasons you don't want her on the team, is simply because you're scared that her fan base will not take well to her not playing. Gilbert Arenas came out and said it best. Would you rather them all watch and be upset, or would you rather none of them watch? And he's absolutely right. Let them watch, and then if they want to be mad that Clark Pett plays 10 minutes, then let them be mad. But they watched. And maybe while they watched, they picked up they decided they liked Kelsey Plum or Jewel Lloyd or whomever. Right? That's what the benefit is. Because there's a lot of people that will not watch simply because Caitlin Clark's not on that team. And that is something that it's an opportunity missed for women's basketball. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got College World Series coming up Friday and Saturday. We've got the NBA Finals. Luka out there rolling out there with, I don't even know if he had a healthy place in his body. Put up a triple-double, but wasn't enough. The Celtics taking a 2-0 lead. And whatever else is on your mind, we'd love to hear from you. Call us on the Pearl Restaurant hotline at 725-5945. Text us on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line at 657-0426. Or send us a message over on the YouTube stream at youtube.com/@Netherton Show. We'll be back. Rogers, I have a question for you. Being that you were in the business when REO's Speedwagon became a thing. What was the what was the prevailing wisdom about his voice and like his diction, like, you know, hey Bo.
You got to remember they came out in a time when Geddy Lee and Rush were out.
Right, like
Robert
there were a
Plant
lot
and
of
Led
very
Zeppelin were out.
interesting vocalists.
Absolutely.
In that time frame.
It's one of those groups that if you're a rock music fan, you know it's Kevin Cronin and REO Speedwagon.
Right. Like
Yeah, they were a big 70s band, but they hit it big in the 80s with
Right.
the High Infidelity album. And that's where a lot of people like you know them from.
Sure.
Take It on the Run, Keep
Yeah.
on Loving You. I know them from all the way back with Time for Me to Fly, Roll with the Changes, Back on the Road Again. Then one of their albums was you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
There you go. Everyone
Very
knows
good
that.
very good live concert band. I've seen them a couple of times.
It's just such a unique voice.
Oh, absolutely. And for such a little bitty skinny guy like he
Is he? Like, I don't know that
that's
I've ever
what's
seen
amazing.
him. So
Yeah, he's kind of a little bitty skinny guy, so it's really amazing he's got such a booming voice.
yeah, there's a lot coming out of there. Apparently, Kristaps Porzingis has a rare injury.
I read what it was. I have no idea if it's a brain tumor. Is it a knee? Is it an ankle? Is his ribs broken? There's so much medical jargon. I don't even know what the hell is wrong with him.
It's a rare injury to his left leg, and he's now considered day-to-day for the upcoming NBA Finals. He has a torn medial retinaculum, allowing dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon in his left leg. You got that, Rogers? I'm going to ask you to point to that on the
No, that's what I was saying.
On the medical dummy.
I thought I was reading Chinese, Japanese, Israeli. I don't know what any of that meant. I was like, does he have a brain tumor?
Yeah. Torn medial retinaculum, which allowing dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon. So basically, he's got a tendon in the wrong place. Is what it basically amounts to. That's in his left leg. That, by the way, after he had missed 10 games earlier in the postseason because of problems with his right leg.
And he has contributed in the first two games more than I thought he was going to be able to, Patrick.
He says he's going to play Game 3 in Dallas tomorrow. But and by the way, hasn't played in Dallas in 2.5 years. After
I'm going to say this is like Kyrie going back to Boston.
Yeah,
this is going to be kind of weird. I don't think they hate him in Dallas the way the Boston people hate Kyrie.
Oh, they do hate Kyrie.
And with him being injured, he probably not going to get as much playing time because you don't want to take a chance of it being some season-ending major surgery that, oh man, he might not even be back next year. Boston can win this without him.
Yeah, and the thing is, Dallas can't win without Luka. And
absolutely,
Luka rolling up there
Luka's
looking
doing
like
all he can, even though he's injured, man. And Kyrie hasn't showed up.
Well, Kyrie,
and I predicted that before the series that he is their James Harden.
Yeah, Kyrie even said after losing Game 2, after practice yesterday, actually today, after practice this morning. Kyrie said, it started with me just telling my hermano I got to play better for him alongside him. In order for us to accomplish our goal, we both have to be playing well, and we both have to be doing the little things, doing whatever it takes to win. Kyrie averaging 14 points while shooting 35% from the field, including 0 of 8 from 3 during the 2 losses at Boston. Meanwhile, he entered the finals scoring 22 a game, nearly 23 a game, shooting nearly 50% from the field in the playoffs. So basically he's down 8 points a game, almost 9 points a game, and went from shooting 48% to shooting 35% in the finals. So basically Kyrie said, it's on me at this point. Said first thing of that is just accepting that I haven't played well or up to my standards as well as I would have liked. He said, being back in Boston, there's such a level of desire that I have inside of me to play well, wanted to be there for my teammates. As a competitor, it's frustrating, but I don't want to let that seep in or spill over to any other decisions I have to make there as a player. Joe Mazzulla, head coach for the Celtics, said it's not about shutting Kyrie down. It's just about making it difficult for him because of his ability to impact plays. So we just have to fight for that. He's gotten some good looks. I think we have to guard him better. I think he's definitely going to be more aggressive. And by the way, Kyrie also mentioned that his Cleveland Cavaliers were down 0-2 in the finals and came back to beat the Warriors in 2016, one of the more unlikely championships that we've seen in the NBA over the last 20 years or so. Kyrie averaged 30 points in 3 straight wins to end the series, capped by hitting the game winner in Game 7. So there you go. So he does have some, Kyrie's got a little experience with that. Then also word coming out that it appears that Luka took a shot before the game, which, yeah, of course he did. Like, why is it? I don't even know why this is a story. Like, of course he took a painkiller before the game. Dude had he got like a collapsed lung and was dealing with like 400 different injuries. Like, yeah, he took, no bleep, everybody. Luka took a pain-killing injection. Luka said after practice today, I feel good. I don't want to get any more details, but I feel good. So yeah, he was a sprained right knee since the 3rd game of the postseason. Left ankle soreness since Game 3 of the 2nd round. And then his thoracic contusion, which basically means, a giant chest bruise. And so, yeah, like, of course he doesn't feel well. And of course he's taking a pain-killing injection. It's not like in, which movie was it, Rogers? Varsity Blues, right? Wasn't that the one where the kid was taking the painkiller? That's why they rebelled on the coach.
Yeah, there's been a couple of movies that was
they've done that
focused,
before.
like North Dallas 40, but no,
Right.
the high school movie, you're right.
Yeah,
because
Varsity
even that's
Blues,
when the quarterback kid was like, no, you're not doing that.
Yeah, and James Vanderbeek and Lance Harbor, who was, I can't remember the actor's name that played him. They decided they were going to rebel because they didn't want their running back got hurt, or whoever it was, and they didn't want him going back out there, and they were
the
gonna
quarterback.
shoot him up
Yeah,
and all that,
Vanderbeek was the quarterback. He got hurt. The other guy, the coach wanted him to shoot up to go back in there because Vanderbeek was hurt. And then when Vanderbeek saw what was happening, he goes, "No, that's the same thing that happened to me. You don't do that."
Yeah,
but he ended up getting blown up anyway.
Yeah. And then it was so the starter, Lance Harbor. I can't remember the actor's name that played him. He got hurt. And then he's the one that ended up going out and basically being the offensive coordinator for Vanderbeek while he was on the field at the end to come back and win the game.
Absolutely.
And Rogers, there's nothing I love more than the fact that every football movie, the dramatic play is always some ridiculous trick play. Like, that's my favorite thing about all of these movies. Remember, the Titans had a crazy trick play. Varsity Blues had a crazy trick play. Necessary Roughness had a crazy trick play.
Waterboy had a crazy
Waterboy
trick
had
play.
a trick.
Look
we
at
were
you,
right
look
there.
at you, buddy.
Yeah, we were right there on it. Waterboy had a crazy.
Yep.
Like, why do they always end with some sort of weird? Like, is it just not good enough for the quarterback to drop back and complete a pass? Like, they had to put the stickum on the hands of Jones for him to be able to catch the long ball. And then, by the way, that ended up with a trick play as well. They threw it back to Keanu Reeves because the kicker couldn't kick because if he made the kick, he would, the Italian mob or the Irish mob or whoever it was gonna kill him because he owed a bunch of debts. So Footsteps Falco had to fake the field goal and then go roll out and throw it, Gene Hackman and all this. It's just why do all football movies have some sort of crazy trick play?
It's got to have a twist. That's just the way.
There's always some kind of trick play. Yeah.
It's not Hurleywood, it's Hollywood.
Yeah, and by the way, Dodgers, how many times have you seen a game decided by a trick play? Like at
Not
the
too
end?
many.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen.
It's usually a fluke play, not a trick play.
Remember all the times, Rogers, when the Saints were down and they called a throwback to Drew Brees to win the game? That never happened.
And then he handed an end around off, and then he ran around, and they threw it back to him.
Exactly.
He double passed down to
right.
No, you're right.
None of that
You're
stuff
right.
ever happens.
You're right.
Oh,
that's funny.
Wait,
did you happen to get my text a little earlier?
I did actually. I
figured that'd be something you want to talk about because I've got some more info for it. So you go ahead and tell them what I sent you. But when I tell you why, you're gonna laugh.
Yeah, well, so Joey Chestnut, who is the
16-time world champion of the Nathan's hot dog eating,
the head of the face of competitive eating. He and,
absolutely.
Who was the other
Nakarawa,
guy? Who was the
something like that?
I can't.
Yeah,
remember
Nakarawa, Chinese, little Chinese guy that can
Japanese
eat some
kid.
freaking hot dogs, man.
I can't remember his name, but anyway, So Joey Chestnut is sort of the face of competitive eating. By the way, the governing body, Major League Eating, the MLE, Rogers, which I love that being the name of the competitive body. Yes, but apparently Joey Chestnut will not compete in the Nathan's famous hot dog eating competition, which happens on the 4th of July. He's won it like Kobayashi. Thank you, Double J. It was Kobayashi. He's not going to compete. He has, by the way, won the event 16 times. Rogers, why isn't Caitlin Clark being allowed to compete in the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest? Joey Chestnut has had his time.
Now.
Joey Chestnut's had his time.
Now.
I'm just saying, he's had his time. He's 800 years old.
He's the Diana Taurasi of hot dog eating.
Can we replace Joey Chestnut with Caitlin Clark?
And the thing
apparently,
about
the
it
reason why is he is representing another hot dog brand.
And guess what? We now know he's been banned from Nathan's because it's a competing hot dog company that are made from plant-based
Impossible dogs. Impossible dogs, Rogers.
So Nathan's is like, we've acquiesced to him, and we've agreed to let him eat at a Labor Day contest that's opposing hot dog from all. And I just went And what was funny, ESPN broke into it with a breaking news.
Well, sure, he's a 16-time champion.
Because at first they were just saying he's not going to compete. Then when I read the story, no, he's been banned. And then when I saw it was a plant-based hot dog, Greg is freaking out, GeekCon Daddy.
Yeah,
he's laughing his butt off. At first he was like, "What is?" And then when I told him why, he looked at me and goes, "Oh my!" I said, "Nope, that he's been banned for a plant-based hot dog competitor."
Yes, and I love a quality Impossible Burger. I mean, who doesn't love that? Rogers, do you remember when I did the Impossible Burger challenge?
Good God, yeah, and I'm glad we stopped you.
Yeah, and by the way,
and you would have finished it, but you were getting close to being sick. I was
not that one. Not that one. I tried to eat the 16 patties. I'm talking about when Burger King had the Impossible Whopper challenge, where they told you that you couldn't tell a regular Whopper from an Impossible Whopper.
Thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant number.
No.
This is
because the food is called Impossible food.
Okay, and it was really tough to tell them apart.
Yeah, number one, it was it was unfortunate because I looked at them first. I still would have been able to tell them apart. Just like if it was a completely blind taste test. And I had a blindfolded and I couldn't see it and I ate it. I would 100% be able to tell you which one was real and which one was
absolutely.
The Impossible Whopper. But the fact that I got to look at them first, I was like, yeah, I mean, because it's a perfectly formed patty. It is, the grill marks are different. They're not really grilling it. It's a whole different thing. It smells different, and obviously the taste is somewhat different.
It smelled like a Boston fern. I was like, that's the one right there.
Jeez, this thing smells like a chrysanthemum out here.
It was pretty obvious, Patrick.
Yeah, it really was. And by the way, it didn't taste terrible, but it was definitely
But
different.
I'd rather have a meat burger.
I would rather have a burger made out of meat
And
than
speaking
an
of meat
impossible
burgers,
meat.
do that commercial right now for the best dang burger in town with the best steaks in town with the pearl dust sprinkled all over it.
Rogers, of course, is talking about Bobby L. Green Plumbing, at which you can find at greenplumbing.com.
Because they will go pick up food from the Pearl and drop it off at their plumbing sign.
Exactly. Greenplumbing.com, GREENE plumbing.com. You can book your availabilities, book your appointments online. You can call them at 631-0235 if you like. Look, hey, you had a big old meal at the Pearl, and maybe you went in and did a little damage to your bathroom. Well, hey, Bobby L. Green Plumbing's there for you. Give them a call at 631-0235, or you can book an appointment online at greenplumbing.com. They've got not only plumbing, they do heating, they now do air conditioning. So they're actually Bobby L. Green Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is the new full name of the business. So they can handle it all for you. That's what they do. And by the way, temps are getting up to nearly 100 this weekend. You need to make sure your AC is ready to go, and Bobby L. Green Plumbing is just the one to do that for you. Greenplumbing.com or 631-0235. 631-0235. That is how you get in touch with Green Plumbing. Bobby L. Green Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Basically anything you need fixed in your house, chances are Bobby L. Green can handle it for you. We'll take a break, come back and wrap this bad boy up. It's the Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger, 103.3 FM, and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Netherton Show. We'll be back. Patrick Netherton Show, 11:30. The Tiger, Rogers, and Patrick. Glenn over on the YouTube channel helping me out a bunch. I appreciate you, Glenn. Glenn said Paul Walker was the QB in Varsity Blues. Thank you. I couldn't remember the actor's name. I could have looked it up. Didn't feel like it. Also said he got hurt, but it was the running back that was the end of the movie. Thank you. Yes, it was the running back that they were going to shoot up, whose knee got hurt, and the rest of the team rebelled. The Lance Harbor, who was Paul Walker's character, the quarterback, was already hurt at the time. So thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that. Yes, Paul Walker played Lance Harbor, who was the quarterback. James Vanderbeek played, was it Johnny Moxon? Whatever his name was. And the whole I don't want your life that Mox did. And yes, so at the end it was the running back who was injured, and they were going to shoot him up, and then the team rebelled on John Voight's character. They were not going to let him do that, so they basically kicked him off the team, and then they went and took care of the rest. All right, dang, we're already at the end of the show. Rogers, that one flew by today. It felt like that show.
That's funny you would say that, Patrick, because I felt as bad as I was dragging this morning.
Yeah.
From 6 to 9 with Fletcher, it was the fastest I can remember, and then the 9 to 10 hour just for some reason seemed to be like molasses.
No, it happens.
That's funny you would say something about that, because this morning I was like, man, I thought this was going to be a long 4 hours because of my situation.
Sure.
6 to 9, it's 9 o'clock all of a sudden. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So it's weird you would say that.
Well, Rogers, it's already 3 o'clock, my friend. So I hope
It's
you're.
that time, brother.
Yeah, hope. Hope
3 more days till vacay.
Yeah, man, we're getting close. Going to work on maybe one more guest. We do have Ross Dellinger joining us Friday at 2:30. So going to be kind of a late guest, but we'll make it happen with Ross Dellinger Friday at 2:30, and then hopefully, maybe one more guest we'll try to drop in between now and then. And vacation time, next week off for the entire week on vacation. Don't call me, I'll call you, or I won't. But I will be heading to Cleveland, and then to Niagara Falls, and then up to Canada. And Rogers, we're starting to hone in on the forecast a little bit, and it looks absolutely gorgeous for the trip. So
that's fantastic,
yeah,
my
very
brother.
very little chances of rain. Temperatures are going to be in the 70s and 80s, low 80s. So looking really nice for a beautiful little drive all around the country, and then onto Canada. So there you go. Big time appreciation to everyone for joining us. Thank you. Chuck did say you're on the right track. Since Chestnut will not be in the competition, the ratings aren't going to be near as high. Yeah, put Caitlin Clark in the dang Nathan's hot dog eating competition. Like, make it happen, man. Put her in there. Let's drive some ratings. Heck, I say let's just, let's take advantage of Caitlin Clark's popularity and put her on a bunch of stuff, right? Have her make some guest appearances on some different things to take advantage of her popularity. Let's boost the ratings on some stuff. While we're there, let's do it. She can, heck, let's get her, maybe she could boost the popularity of our politics. Like, let's get her into, nobody likes any of the politicians. Let's get Caitlin Clark in there. Maybe the politicians will get more popular. I don't know. All right, that's it for me and Hambone. Good luck to Hambone that his brakes work and that they got the line
I'm
fixed,
sure
and
hoping so. That's a scary damn feeling
No,
when your
brother,
brakes
I've had
don't
that.
work.
I've had that happen before. I can tell you, there's nothing worse
Don't
than when you
forget
hit the brakes.
tomorrow an extra 5 minutes
That's
before
true.
we come on because of hooking up and tracking down.
That's true. Hooking up and tracking down. Best outdoor show on the radio will be from 11 to 1 tomorrow. Then we'll be on at 1:05. For Rogers, I'm Patrick. Y'all be safe and careful out there, everyone. Want to see you back here tomorrow from 1:05 to 3 on the Patrick Netherton Show.